Hello you guys and welcome back to another episode of Mental Health with Megan. So today we are finally back with another answering deep questions episode because you guys seem to really like these episodes. These episodes usually get a lot of views and bring in new viewers, and that's exactly what we want. But I also really like these kinds of videos also because some of these questions are so deep that I actually have to internalize and really think about them, and I learn something about myself in the process. So, starting with the most important question, where the fuck have I been? So let's start with a little life update first. Hi Luna. First of all, peep the new hoodie. How cute is this? It says teacher of the sweetest peeps, and I wore this to my pre-K showcase last night and it was a hit. Kids loved it, my coworkers loved it, and I just think it's so cute for Easter and festive, and it's so comfy too. I'm gonna wear this probably all year round. This is from Creations by Nicole. You can check her out on Instagram. But anyways, yeah, so where the fuck have I been? So I don't really remember exactly when I stopped filming and uploading podcasts, but it's been a minute. It's been a little while now, and I think honestly, I got kind of unmotivated. I was dealing with seasonal depression. I have been drained. I don't know why this semester feels so hard, but for some reason it does. It's my last semester of my associate's degree. I'm about to graduate in May, and I was going into the semester believing I only had to take art and yoga and that it would be a super easy semester. Well, I was wrong. My yoga class is online, so I do get to do it from home, from the comfort of my own home, which is nice, but the teacher, I just don't love the teacher, and it takes 2 hours out of my Thursday night. So it's like an inconvenient time, kind of. Like, as soon as I get home from work, I have maybe an hour or two to do something or chill out. Then I gotta do yoga, and also yoga makes me really sleepy. And the class ends between 7:20 and 7:40, so technically I could kind of just get in bed after that and sleep, but it's too early because then I have to eat dinner, shower, I have some more stuff to get done, so I hate that yoga makes me tired, and then I still have to do stuff after, but I am trying to get as much as I possibly can out of this class. You know, since I'm taking the class, I might as well actually participate and learn and meditate. I really do love yoga. I like meditating. I think that it's a very helpful tool. I do think that it can kind of calm you down, help with anxiety. I like stretching out my body. Some of the poses we do feel really good. Stretching out your body sometimes can be so nice. So yeah, I really am trying to just do the class to my best ability and learn from it. But it's draining, and by Thursday I'm already exhausted from the work week, and so we have yoga, and then we have my art class, which is from 12:30 to 4:55 on Mondays, and I like it. I'm taking a ceramics class. I've taken some before. I love making ceramics. I think that it is one of the coolest art forms. I really do love making it. But it's a long class. That's over 4 hours that we have to be there working on our pieces, and sometimes it can get a little annoying. By 3 o'clock, I'm just oh my god, get me out of here. And we still have 2 more hours after 3 o'clock. So by that point, I'm just oh my god, I gotta get out of here. And then, thankfully, I emailed the head of the theater department, a month ago, and I was like, hey, am I all set to graduate, in the theater section of my degree? And he was like, yes, but you have to take another social sciences class credit, which I didn't know. For some reason, when I was creating my schedule, I was unaware of that. So I had to sign up for another class, pay for the class. I got stuck taking anthropology. I wanted to take sociology again because I took that last semester and I actually kind of enjoyed it and learned from it, but all the classes were full, so I ended up taking anthropology online, fully online. And I don't even know how it happened, but I got so behind on my work. I have 5 discussion boards to do because I didn't even know that we were doing discussion boards. I just wasn't really paying super close attention to the website forum that we use for our online classes, and we were only getting notified about quizzes and tests. So I was taking the quizzes and tests, but I wasn't doing the other work because I didn't know that there was other work. And that is the tricky thing about taking an online class, is that like when it's fully online and you don't even have Zoom, you are fully responsible for knowing what work you have to do and when it's due. And usually, like in the past, I've taken online classes before and I've had no issue with that. But I think I've just been really drained. I was really frustrated and upset that I had to take another class that I didn't know about until like super last minute. Thankfully, I was able to get into a class. Otherwise, I might not have been able to graduate, or I would have had to take it over the summer. So at least I was able to get into a class, but that was really frustrating. And for some reason, I've just been drained since this semester started. Like, I was already drained basically as soon as it started. I had a really awesome winter break. I did a lot of fun things. I was working just the right amount, so I still had time to have fun and do fun things and see all my friends. But for some reason, I have just been drained this whole semester, and I think maybe I'm kind of having a little bit of a case of senioritis. I don't like school. I've never liked school. It's not that I don't like learning. I do like learning. I've really enjoyed learning new yoga techniques and learning new techniques in ceramics. But I'm not a school person. I hate doing homework. I hate trying to sit down for hours and read a textbook. I hate studying. Like, I really hate studying. I'm not a school person. So, me thinking this semester was going to be, like, super easy, and it's been anything but. So I also think that this semester I'm working the most I've ever worked. I started this semester working 6 days a week, 4 days at my regular job, and 1 day a week at the office at my school. So I was working Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, off Saturday, and then I was working on Sunday as well. And I'm still working all those days except Wednesdays, because I quit the office job at the school because I just couldn't handle it. Like, I was just so drained and so burnt out that I was like, it's not worth the money. I was making like $50 a day. And I was just like, you know what, I can't handle this, so I quit that. I am still working my normal part-time job, and I'm working at the theater still, of course, and then I'm working my not one, not 2, but 3 small businesses. So technically, you could say that I have 5 jobs. And that's a lot. And I also think that one of the reasons why I've been so drained this semester is because I started really pushing all of my businesses again. I actually just started a new business like a few days ago. It's an event planning business, so check me out. I'll have my Instagrams linked down below at Gem Events. And then, of course, I have my jewelry business, Megan Rogue's Closet, and then I have my drama business at Got Drama Academy. So check us out, hit me up, let's collab, sponsor me, etc., etc. But yeah, so I've just been really, really busy, and I think I was also focusing heavily on YouTube at the time that school started because I had gotten really into a grind when we were on winter break. With filming and editing, and then when school started I was still in that kind of mindset and that grind of YouTube. And yeah, so basically I've just been drained this whole semester, and I've been feeling really tired during the day. Still don't know why. I could have chronic Lyme disease, the doctors don't know. I haven't gotten my blood tested in a while, so I probably will soon. So I probably will get my blood tested again soon, but I'm kind of sick of dealing with doctors. I've also been dealing with having issues eating and issues swallowing food. And I went to the ENT, I got a bunch of testing done. They said everything looks fine. Now I have to go to a GI. I was having a bunch of cardiac tests done as well because my cardiologist found something that looked off and I needed to get tests done for that. So like, I'm healthy. I haven't been sick this whole winter, which is a godsend. no flu, no cold, knock on wood, because I'm not trying to get sick now. But I've been healthy, but not necessarily feeling the best. Like, I haven't been sick, but I also don't feel the best, and that gets very draining very quick. So yeah, between school and YouTube and running businesses and my day job, I have just been really, really drained, and now that I have 2 days a week off, I feel much better. Just knowing that I have another day to either rest or to be productive, to clean my apartment, to get stuff done, to work on my business. So I've now made Wednesdays my like small business day, so that's the day that I'll really sit down and get work done for my businesses and check them, check everything off the to-do list on Wednesdays, and then that way on Saturdays I can just relax. Saturdays are my day to just, like, sometimes I'll go out with my friends, but other than that, stay at home and do nothing. I turned 21 back on March 10th, so that was very exciting. I had a great weekend. I went out Friday and Saturday night, and then on Sunday I went to the mall with my friend, did some shopping, and we went to dinner. So it was a very nice birthday. It was very like chill, just like I wanted. I went out, I had fun, got drunk obviously. I turned 21, big 21, whoop whoop. No, but like seriously, it was very fun. I had a great birthday weekend. I'm still actually celebrating my birthday because I still haven't gotten the chance to celebrate yet with some of my friends. So I'm still celebrating. It's March 26th today, so I'm still celebrating my birthday with a couple of friends, which is, I'm not mad about it. It's my birthday month, Gotta spread out all the festivities and celebrations. So my birthday was very fun. I'm very excited to be 21. I almost kind of thought that turning 21 would kind of like ruin drinking, because when you're under 21 and you gotta sneak around and like you have somebody buy you alcohol, or like you have a fake ID and you're doing it like sneaky, and you're sneaking it and you're sneaking around and stuff, it kind of adds like adrenaline to it, and it's kind of more, I thought it would be like kind of like more fun. Guess what? Newsflash, now that I'm actually 21, it's still fun. I don't think that, I was gonna say that I don't think underage drinking is bad, but that's not what I meant. I think the legal drinking age should be 18. In some countries it's like 16. Anyways, that's a topic for another day, but yeah. I turned 21 and I'm really excited to be 21. I went to the liquor store for the first time. So much fun. Got to pick out, what I wanted. Went to the dispensary. Also great experience. So that was cool. That was exciting. I got my new driver's license that does not say under 21 on it because I'm 21 years old and I kind of can't believe that, but I think this was the first birthday that I didn't cry. I mean, okay, I did cry on one night of my birthday weekend because something went wrong and it was stressful and I was very overwhelmed, but we were having a monsoon, like pretty much, like I'm being a little over dramatic, but we were having a really, really bad rainstorm on Saturday night of my birthday weekend. My birthday was on Sunday, and I was really disappointed because my friend wasn't able to make it to the hotel we were staying at that night. So I did cry over the weekend, but I didn't cry on my actual birthday. I didn't really have like the birthday blues. I just had a great time. I just had fun. And for somebody who works constantly and is working and going to school, and I haven't taken a vacation since the summer, it was really nice to genuinely just forget about everything for a weekend and just have fun. It was great. Okay. All that being said, before my camera battery dies, which is another little update for you guys, I purchased a camera for myself for my birthday. I've been wanting to get one for a really long time. I feel like that's a really big step in doing YouTube. I've been doing YouTube for 5 years and I've never used a camera. I've been filming on my phone for 5 years. So I finally got a camera. I got the Sony, the Sony ZV-F1, I think. I got the white Sony ZV-1 and I absolutely love it so far. I haven't posted any videos yet that I've filmed on my camera because I still have to finish editing them, but so far so good. I think I'm doing pretty good with like learning how to use it. There's still things I have to learn, like I gotta learn about like aperture and ISO and all these different things, but so far so good, and I've really been enjoying using my camera. I've only used it to film this current podcast episode and one other vlog, but I'm learning a lot, and the quality has me so gagged, and it feels so official now. Like, I just feel like an official vlogger, and I hope that this leads to bigger and better cameras in the future. And yeah, I mean, do I want to be a viral YouTuber? Like, of course I do. I've been doing this for 5 years. It's my passion, and I really love what I do, and I finally, after years of waiting and hard work, hit 1,000 subscribers, and that was a big deal. And I think the reason why I waited so long to buy a camera wasn't because I didn't have the money, it was because I think I was just scared. Because it's a new thing, you gotta learn how to use different procedures. It's not like I can just airdrop it to my computer. No, like I gotta take out the SD card, put the SD card into my computer, do this, do that, do the other thing. Like, it's a new process. It's very different than when I was filming on my phone. And I think I was just scared. It's like a big leap. Like, you know, you're investing, I probably spent like $900, $1,000 on this camera and all the equipment for it. Like, I had to get the camera, the microphone, extra batteries, a battery charger. What else did I get? I got the Sony tripod thing. What else? I feel like I'm missing something. I don't know, but my point is, I'm investing a lot of money into this camera, and I just feel like it's taking a big step, and I'm the type of person that, like, if something scares me, I will procrastinate it for as long as I can. I did not get my driver's permit, I think, until I was 17, because I was so scared that I was gonna fail the permit test. Not even the driving test, the permit test. I was so scared that I was gonna fail that I didn't even bother trying until I was 17. And then when I took it, I passed the first try, like, no problem. Like, it was so easy. And then I regretted not getting my license sooner. So when something scares you, you just gotta do it. But without further ado, let's get into these questions. I posted on my Instagram story, and you guys actually came up with some really good questions for this one, so I'm excited. Let's get into it. The first question is, how did you know you were in love for the first time? How did I know I was in love for the first time? You know, I honestly feel like I don't really have a good answer for this question, because I was so confused after the end of my first relationship. Like, I was like, was I ever really in love? Did I just love him because he loved me? You know, did I just love him because he was giving me attention? Did I really was I really in love with him? Because there's a difference between loving someone and being in love with someone. You know, I love everybody. I love my friends. I love my coworkers. I love my mom. I love my grandparents. I love my family. But, you know, I'm not obviously in love with those people, you know, so there's a difference. And I was very confused with my first relationship. I was young. I was like 16. And, well, I think that's young. Some people, especially now, some people, especially now, are getting into relationships much younger than that. Like, they're getting into relationships at like 12 years old, which I think is fucking crazy. And personally, when I have kids someday, I do not think I wouldn't be letting them date that young. You know, I'm not trying to be like a control freak to my future kids, but like my students will come up to me and be like, "Miss Megan, I have a boyfriend," and I'm just like, you're 12, you know? Like, I had one girl, she's one of my favorite students, she's adorable, and she's so sassy, and she comes up to me, and, you know, she's small, she's like 6, and she's like, "Miss Megan, I have to tell you something," and I'm like, "What?" And she's like, "I have 2 boyfriends," and I was like, "Good for you." I was joking around, you know, I was like, "Good for you, girl." I was like, "Me too." No, but obviously, like, I was kidding, I was joking around with her, but my students are just the sweetest peeps. They're so adorable. I love them so much. But anyways, back to the question. How did I know I was in love for the first time? I don't really know if I did know, but I do think that I definitely felt a connection with my first boyfriend. I think that he'll always have a special place in my heart, being that he was my first boyfriend. I think that I will always be fun, like those memories will always be fond. I will always be fond of those memories, and I do think that you kind of just know. I know it's an annoying answer because for someone who's never been in love before, you're like, how? Like, how do I just know? How am I just supposed to know that I'm in love or that I'm ready for something else or, you know, things like that? Well, I think the answer is that you really do, like, you just know. You just know. You can feel it. You can feel a connection. You can feel that it's different from relationships you've had in the past. You just know. I really do think that's the answer. And I remember being younger and asking my friends that question or watching YouTube videos about it. And everyone would say, you just know. And I'd be like, no way. Like, how? But it kind of is true. And piggybacking off of that question, someone else asked me, how did you know when you were ready to lose your virginity? Well, the answer to that question also, I think, is like, you just know. And I also think that you should wait. You know, if you're not ready, you're not ready. Like, I feel like I was kind of like a late bloomer in life. Like, I didn't have my first relationship, I didn't have my first boyfriend until my battery died. But as I was saying, the truth is that you really do just know. And with the virginity thing, for me at least, because everyone's experiences are going to be different, but for me at least, it wasn't that I knew in the moment, it was that I knew in like a time frame almost, if that makes sense. Like one day I kind of just woke up and was like, I'm ready, let's do this. Like, I knew that the boy I was seeing at the very least cared about me and made me feel safe and comfortable, and whether he was in love with me or I was in love with him or not, I was comfortable enough with him to do that. He made me feel safe and comfortable and loved and cared about, and that's what mattered. And I also knew, because I was scared to lose my virginity, and I think that kids should be scared, because I don't think kids understand, like, when you're a kid, you don't understand how serious it is. Like, you might think like, oh, you know, I'm just hooking up with a guy, like whatever. You can get pregnant. And both the girl and the boy should be scared of that, because if you get someone pregnant, boys, when you're like 16 or whatever, it's not going to be fun for you. You're a dad. You're a dad now at the age of 16, you know, or whatever age. But, like, I also knew that, God forbid, I got pregnant, the guy that I was with would have taken care of that baby and would have taken care of me and would have made sure that we worked something out and that whatever happened, like, worked for us. So that's another thing too that I was thinking about. I didn't want to just hook up with any random guy, because like I was always so scared of getting pregnant. And when you're like a teenager, you should be scared of getting pregnant. I'm 21. I'm still scared of getting pregnant. I don't want to get pregnant now. I'm not ready for kids. Now, I do think that, you know, if you're careful and you know your options as far as birth control goes and you're diligent, you'll be fine. But people get pregnant, people have unwanted pregnancies way too often. So that's another thing to think about too. But I wasn't ready when we were dating for 6 months, when we were together, even for like a year, almost a year, I still wasn't ready, and I knew I wasn't ready. And there had been times where I thought I was ready, and then I wasn't, and then I was like, nope, just kidding, I'm not ready. And we stopped, and that was it. And any guy that you're with should respect you enough to stop if that's the case. If you don't feel ready or you don't feel comfortable and you say stop, that should be it. There should be no discussion about it. There shouldn't be a fight about it. There shouldn't be like any pushback from your partner to keep going. Like, if you say stop, that should be it. So I think with both of those questions, the answer is just, you'll know when. And don't push yourself just because your friends are falling in love and your friends are having sex. Like, don't push yourself to be ready when you're not ready, or because your partner wants you to be ready. You're ready when you're ready. And personally for me, I think because I waited as long as I did, and because I waited until I felt ready, I do not regret losing my virginity. I do not regret who I lost it to. I do not regret any of that. Another thing is too, like on TV, sex is made out to be this just great thing that's so awesome, and you probably have high expectations from that, but It's not, and it's not always, and especially not your first time. You know, your first time is going to be awkward, it's going to be uncomfortable, because both of you, or maybe at least one of you, doesn't know what you're doing. And even when you're not a virgin and you're hooking up with other people, doesn't mean it's always going to be great like it is on TV. So, you know, expectations versus reality, you never know what's going to happen. So just use protection, wait until you're ready, and, you know, don't have high expectations. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Okay, next question is, what is your biggest regret? I don't know. I don't know. I think one of my biggest regrets is not spending enough time with my grandma towards the end of her life when I lived with her, and then when she was moved into hospice care. It was hard to find the time to go visit her, but also it was hard to see her like that. So I think that's definitely one of my biggest regrets. And one of my other biggest regrets is not auditioning for high school, like the musicals and plays in my high school, because I was so scared of the older kids and I was just so nervous about auditioning, and I'm really regretting that I did. I'm really regretting that I let that get to me and I didn't do those things, because they always looked like so much fun. Anybody who's done like a musical at their high school has had so much fun. So I'm just sad that I let my fear basically get the best of me and I didn't end up doing that. Oh, my baby. My baby, my Nuna baby. My favorite thing in the world is hugging my cat. Next question. What's the worst and best thing you ever did? You guys are really getting me with these questions. The worst thing I ever did. Like, I don't know, like, do they mean like something I did that I regret? The worst thing that I did in what sense? You know, like, I don't really know exactly what this person was trying to say. The best thing I've ever done in my life, I think, was starting my YouTube channel and opening my businesses. The worst thing that I've ever done in life is probably dating my ex. Oh, no, but like, seriously, like, I'm trying to think of like, what's the worst thing I ever did? I don't know, like, I wasn't really like a bad teenager. Like, of course, you know, I snuck out a couple times, I would smoke some weed, have a drink, go to parties, but that's like pretty normal. I never did anything too crazy. The worst thing I ever did, never been arrested. I don't regret any of my tattoos. You know, honestly, I think the worst thing I've ever done might actually, for real, be dating my ex, because that man caused me a lot of problems and a lot of trauma. So I actually think that that might be the answer. The scariest thing you've ever encountered? The time that I almost died riding my cousin's electric bike. So I wasn't wearing a helmet. I was going really fast down a hill. I'm not sure how fast those things go, but you know, when you're going down a hill, you're obviously going to go faster. And I didn't know that the bike did not have brakes. And I started going down the hill really fast. Brakes didn't work. And the bike hit like a rock or something. I flipped off the bike. I don't even remember like how I landed, but I hurt my ankle. I scraped up my whole leg. I had a road rash on like a good chunk of my leg. And at the very moment that that happened, a car was driving up that hill and was probably like a few inches away from my face, my head. So that's definitely one of the scariest things I've ever dealt with. Because I felt like that was a pretty near-death experience. That was like divine intervention. Like, if I had landed any differently, I would have been run over by a car, or like could have had traumatic brain injuries or something. Like, I could have hit my head really hard. I didn't hit my head at all. And I didn't have a helmet on, so that was very scary. Also, probably like when my ex got hit by a car, that was also very scary. And also when I was little, I have a very vivid memory of this, I don't know why, but when I was like 5 years old or something, my mom and grandma took me to Toys R Us, and it was like snowy, and we were leaving Toys R Us, and a guy had crashed up onto one of the snowbanks, and he was like laying like half out of his car, with his face covered in blood, and I just remember like being like a 5-year-old and seeing that. I was terrified, obviously, and like I have that image literally like ingrained into my head. So that's lovely. So yeah, that too. Okay, next question is biggest challenge you faced. Biggest challenge I faced, probably moving so much. I lived in the same apartment with my mom for I think 10 years when I was going through elementary school, middle school, and the first 3 years of high school. So that was kind of like my like childhood home. And then we moved out of that home during 2020. I moved again in 2022. Or no, I moved again in 2023. And then I moved again in 2020. No, yeah, I moved again in 2022 and then moved again in 2023. So I had moved like 4 times in the span of 4 years. And that has just been really kind of traumatic for me and really hard for me. And trying to deal with everyday life and work and school while also dealing with apartment hunting and moving. Moving is a lot. It takes a toll on your body. It takes a toll on you physically, mentally, and emotionally. Getting used to a new space, getting used to a new neighborhood, a new town, things like that. So I definitely think that that is one of the biggest challenges I faced. And also one of the biggest challenges I faced was when I left school right before COVID, actually. I think it was the November of 2020. I dropped out of high school against my will, and I had a really hard time with that. It's not often that I go into details about that situation on the internet, because it's hard to talk about, but I was really depressed. I was at my lowest point after that had happened. I lost all my friends. It was just a really hard thing for me to deal with, and you know, I had support, but not enough, and I was having a really hard time at that point in my life. Next question is, what is your definition of success? I would say happiness, inner peace, and money. I don't need to be a millionaire, you know, I don't need to have like $5 million just sitting in a bank account, but the biggest thing that I want in life is financial freedom, because I grew up, for the most part, in poverty, and I don't want that for myself. I don't want that for myself. I don't want that for my future kids. So I will do everything in my power to not have to continue to live like that and not raise my future kids like that. My definition of success is financial freedom, happiness, inner peace, and health. You know, like having your health that means you're successful in being healthy. Okay, next question. I really like this question. You guys came up with some really good questions for this one. The next question is, do you think everyone has an inner child that needs to be healed? Oh my god, yes. Absolutely yes. I think that even if you or your siblings or your family consider your childhood to be like perfect and the best childhood ever, and nothing was ever wrong in your life when you were a child and nothing bad ever happened to you, that's not true. That's not true, because nothing's perfect. Nobody goes through life without bad things happening. Maybe they happen to you when you're older, but I think that everyone's inner child has to be healed from something. You know, whether you lost a parent very young, you grew up in foster care, maybe your parents were too controlling, or maybe your parents didn't parent you, which led you to go down a certain path. Like, I believe that everyone's inner child has to be healed from something. Yes, absolutely. Okay, we got 2 questions left. The next question is, how do you deal with the stress of being on your own so young? Well, I don't. I don't know. I feel like I don't have a great answer for this, but I just deal with it because I have to. You know, I don't have another choice. I don't have another parent that's gonna take care of me. I don't have another family member that's gonna, like, you know, take me in. My mom's not, like, dead or anything. She just didn't have the means to financially support me anymore. and I've been financially supporting myself since I was 18 now. Which is crazy to think that that's been 4 years. Whenever I think of like 18, I'm like, oh yeah, that was 2 years ago. No, that was 4 years ago. But basically, I know what I have to do. I know I have to make enough money to pay my bills and support myself and save money, and it has not been easy. I also think that this has also been one of my biggest challenges in life so far, is being on my own and having to support myself. It's hard. It's fucking hard. It gets lonely because not every 21-year-old is fully financially supporting themselves. A lot of them are not. I feel like a lot of people, at least that I know personally, they don't understand what I'm going through. And, you know, I'm grateful for it almost, because I'm like, wow, you know, like, you're 21 and you already know how to support yourself and you've been doing it. So it's not like when I'm done with college I'll have to like take that leap, you know, like I've already done it. I kind of feel like a baby bird that got like pushed out of the nest, like, boop, here you go, take care of yourself, good luck. But basically I just do it. I do it, and to relieve my stress I get massages and I try to go for walks and I hang out with my friends. That's a good one for me. I make art, I make YouTube videos, I read, I write. There are so many things you can do to deal with stress, no matter where it's coming from or no matter why it's being caused. There are so many things you can do to deal with and eliminate stress. Well, I don't want to say eliminate, but make it better, because you can never eliminate stress in life. There's always going to be stress about something. But yeah, it's been hard. There have been some really dark times. I was at a point where I was unable to pay my rent and I was almost evicted from where I was living, and that was really hard and also really scary for me. But I was really just, this is kind of why I also got back to God, because I was at a really low point and I started praying again and just praying to find a better job and that things would get better, because I know that where I live and, you know, paying my bills, it's on me now, and I don't have anybody to fall back on. I don't have room to make a mistake, you know, I don't have room for anything like that. So I was just at a really low point and I had started praying, you know, every single day and night, please, dear God, let me find a better job. You know, I need more money. I have to pay my rent. Please don't let me get evicted from my place. I didn't. I was able to get a stipulation from the judge and things worked out. But it was still a very hard time in my life, and that was a very hard thing I had to go through that I don't think I will ever forget. But it also taught me lessons. It taught me a lot. And thankfully now I'm in a better place where I have a better job and I'm making good money and I'm able to pay all my bills on my own, and it feels really good. Even though I may not want to pay my bills. Who does want to pay bills? I don't think anybody wants to pay bills. But knowing that I'm able to do it finally, because it took me like a while to get to this point, knowing that I'm able to do it finally, it feels so good. Okay, moving on to the next and final question. What is the easiest and hardest part of your job? Okay, so for those of you who don't know, I'm a personal care aide. I take care of developmentally disabled kids and adults. I have one family that I'm working with right now, one client, and what is the easiest and hardest parts of the job? I think the easiest part of the job is connecting with my client. I feel like for me it's always pretty easy to form a bond and a connection with my client and their family. And I think the hardest part of the job is remembering to take care of myself too. Because, you know, when you think about it, I'm basically a caretaker. When I'm on the clock, I am taking care of this person, my client. I am driving them around, taking them to school or sometimes work, taking them to doctor's appointments, taking them to get their hair cut, making sure they eat. You know, I'm responsible for watching them, driving them around safely, etc., etc. So I'm like a caretaker, and I think sometimes the hardest part of my job is forgetting to take care of myself too. And also one of the hardest parts is losing a family or a client, you know, if somebody doesn't want me to work with them anymore, I always have a really hard time with that because I pretty quickly form a bond with my clients, being that I spend so much time with them. And some families kind of just like, they just discard you for whatever reason. Like, one family fired me because I got another job. I wasn't saying, oh, I got another job, I can't work with you anymore. I was saying I got another job and one day a week I will have to leave this job early. And they did not like that and they let me go over that. And I was devastated. And I was also just devastated that they didn't even let me say goodbye to my client, you know? And that's a hard part too, is losing a client, because you really do form a bond with them. So when you get fired or you get let go from that family, it's really hard to kind of get over losing that person, because they're like a companion to me too, you know, like they're like a friend to me too. Like, I get really close with them and I form a bond with them, and then when I get let go and don't even really get a chance to say goodbye, that can be really hard too. I also just think another like hard part of my job is like that it gets really draining really fast and really tiring really fast, because it's, I mean, every job is kind of like doing the same thing over and over every day. But it can get really draining really fast, and I don't really know how to deal with that yet. And I've been doing this job now since 2021, I think. So yeah, that can be really hard too, is that it can get really draining really fast, and I still don't really know how to deal with that. Like, what do I do? Because I can't just take off work every time I feel drained from work, because I need the money and also my client needs me. So that can be really hard too. Well, okay guys, on that note, that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of the podcast. I'm so glad to be back and finally have time and the patience to sit down and film a podcast episode. Keep an eye out for more. I'm going to do my best to continue uploading an episode every Sunday, so keep an eye out. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye!